You know, genuinely, I do not believe I've ever been here when the sun's out. It's like it's got its own climate, isn't it?
It's typical Brecon weather. However, I am usually quite lucky with the weather up here over the years, but that's why I blame you. You've brought the bad luck.
I do see all these things on social media where it's sunny when they do the fan dance, and I think to myself, it's got to be fake. It's got to be fake.
No, I've been quite lucky, mate, but today is uber crap, so but we roll, don't we? We roll with it.
Well, welcome to another episode of the podcast. I think it's pretty obvious to a lot of the viewers at home where we are, with the weather and with the phone box in the background. But if you cast your mind back several months, episode 38 of the podcast, we had former SAS soldier Lindsay Bruce on the podcast. Obviously, he wasn't satisfied with that episode. He's a glutton for punishment, and he's decided to come back on and have a wander around Brecon with me. Welcome to this week's edition of the Old Paratrooper podcast. But before we get started, I want to tell you about our new sponsors, Veterans for Veterans. If you served after 1987 and your hearing's taken a knock from your time in the forces, these are the people to speak to. They've helped thousands of veterans like us claim compensation for tinnitus and hearing loss. They're ex-military themselves, so they genuinely get it. It's free to check if you qualify, and the claims are no win, no fee. To get started, click the link in this video or visit veteransforveterans.co.uk. Obviously, we've picked a day for it. Thought we'd have a wander up the fan. Yeah. Obviously, it's no secret, former SS soldier, selections done on the hills. What does this place mean to you? And like, obviously you've been back here, you're quite familiar with the area. You did say to me, yeah, you know it better than your face when we said we were coming down here for a bit of a tab up the fan. So I was hoping you wouldn't beast me up the fan. And I know that's not a euphemism, okay? You're gonna have to at least buy me lunch for that, all right? But yeah, what does it mean to you being here?
Like you said, I come down here on the regular, you know, and either it was just up the top of the fan, back down again. Sometimes I do the full fan dance. And as I was telling you earlier, a couple of years ago we did the endurance march that you do on selection. It's just one of those things that you're not in a hurry to do it again, but you end up fucking finding yourself back here anyway doing it. And yeah, I've lost count the amount of times I've been up the fan now, but you know, it's just one of those things. It's on my doorstep. It's like an hour away. I live in Hereford, so yeah, it's one of those places that's got nostalgia. It's a beautiful place when the weather's nice, even when the weather's shit. You know, it's getting out in the weather, braving the elements, and just being outdoors. You know, that's the main reason. Yeah,
I said that to you coming down. I was like, you know what? I know you're wet and it's a bit miserable, but you know, there's something really satisfying about having a tab about the hills. Yeah. Like I say it all the time, and you know, with a fear of repeating myself, but I'm a big believer in positive mental health is getting outdoors, even if you're a bit cold and you're a bit wet. Brilliant for your mental health, and I know you're a big kind of campaigner for that kind of thing as well, yeah. Your mental wellness and stuff like that.
I would say to anyone, you know, even just getting out for a 20-minute walk a day, just getting out somewhere, whether it's your local park, around the streets. People just don't get out enough these days. Yeah. And if you can get out to the hills, if you're lucky enough to have a national park near you, or a few even small hills, you know, get out there and get into nature. I think it's the element of nature that people have stopped connecting with. And hopefully, I mean, since lockdown, the good thing about lockdown was people wanted to go outdoors. And you found that when you go up the fan now, especially if it was a Saturday morning or something, you'll go to the top of the fan, you'll be queuing to get to the trig point to get a photograph. Years ago, that wasn't the case. Years ago, you would go up there any day of the week, you might bump into a few people, and it became this trendy kind of fashionable thing, for a good reason though. And there were those that complain and go, oh, there's all these people, the car park's full, you can't get a photo at the trig point because there's too many people there, but you've got to see the positive of that. You know, it means people are outdoors, people are into nature, rather than being sat at home on their phones or fucking stuff in their face with pizza, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's good to get just stick your phone down and get out. Like I say it all the time about social media, you've got to get off it and appreciate what's around you. So when you did the endurance
march
Yeah.
recently. You said, was it along that ridge line at the back there?
Yes, you start way down at the top, the Taliban Reservoir, which is about 12 k's from here.
Yeah.
This is the first checkpoint, actually, Story Arms. And then you head from here, cross. You don't go up Fan 4. Fan 4 is the next sort of try point up that way, the next highest one. But you go all the way around, and yeah, it's the meandering route all the way to Cray Reservoir. By the time you get there, and then another similar route back to the Taliban, in selection you get 20 hours. In regular selection you get 20 hours to do it.
Yeah.
I think the reserves get 24 hours. But obviously, on selection you're carrying a fucking small house in your back. So we didn't go that far we didn't carry full weight, and we didn't try to do it in the 20 hours. We give ourselves 24 hours. I was with eight of my clients from the Modern Warrior Project, which is obviously what I do, you know, the coaching program that I run. And so, yeah, we got 8 of us fit enough for it over the course of about 6 months, put a training program together, and we all did it. And there was some of the guys in there, one guy in particular, in fact, he really struggled with any sort of elevation when he first started the program. We took him up the fan, and my dog, who you've met earlier, pulled him up to the top. You know, he was really unfit. 6 months later, he's doing endurance. So it just goes to show you with the right focus and dedication into a program and the right accountability and stuff, people can fucking, you know, they can achieve a hell of a lot.
Yeah, you say, and obviously you kind of with your mental wellness stuff and your kind of mindset coaching. Like, there's a lot to be said about having a mindset, you know. And I think your mindset overtakes sort of natural ability. It takes over. If your mind's in it, you can achieve what you want to achieve. Yeah. Selection being, you know, and tabbing around these hills, they're not for the faint-hearted. I think that's why the British Army picked these areas, you know, because they are, like I say, look at it today. We've just come down off the fan. It is absolutely horrendous. You can have 4 seasons in one day. Yeah. And I think, you know, mindset and selection, British Army, they all go hand in hand, don't they?
Everything starts in the mind. You know, that's why, as part of my program, it's like master your mind, elevate your life, because everything does start with how you think. And all we have is information, right? So if we take that information, filter it in a way that's going to benefit us rather than hinder us, then that's going to make you do, or it's going to elicit the actions that are going to be responsible for better results. And it's a cyclical thing, you know. It's about how you train that mindset and make it more of your unconscious mind that thinks a certain way, rather than being stuck in your head and overthinking things and, you know, telling yourself the wrong type of language. It's all about language. It's all about your inner dialogue.
Yeah.
And that's what gets you through. I mean, as a young 22-year-old, when I did selection, I was a young whippersnapper, you know. I was
young, innit, 22?
Yeah, there was me and another guy. There was one guy, my mate Chris, he was even younger than me. He was 21 when we did selection, so I wasn't the youngest. He came from the Marines, and we became, you know, best of pals. And you know, we were both the youngest lads in selection at the time. And as I said, I was 22 years old. It's probably a good thing, because when you're 22, you're naive, you are open to just being fucking thrashed.
Yeah. Less to worry about injuries as well.
Without questioning things. You just do what you're told. But I remember on selection just thinking, you know, you can be as physically ready as possible. And there were some absolute units on my selection. They had that classic thing, the first day you arrive, you size everyone up, you're looking around and you're thinking, most of these guys are more experienced than me, a lot of them are, well, most of them are older than me, they're a higher rank, and you have all these things in your mind, talking yourself into this idea that you are less than what's required, you know. And then it doesn't take that long before, you know, the first week, this very fucking path that we're looking at now, that weeds out a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, you could start off with 250 people in a selection course. By the first Friday, which is when you do the fan dance, half of them are gone.
Wow.
Half of them are gone. They lose a lot of people on this very day, because it's a 6 k's an hour pace, so it's a faster pace. It's like 50% faster than the normal pace that you do in the hills in test week. And you know, it's a the fan dance is a really challenging day.
Yeah. Up and over, innit? Over to the side and back.
Yeah, we go all the way over and round away to the car park, and it's 24 k's in total. But when I did selection, it was extra difficult for me on that day personally, because when I was going down Roman Road on the first half of the fan dance, I fell and I smashed my head off the floor, and I've got a scar there. So I had like 7 stitches all the way around my eye socket, and yeah, delirious, and, you know, almost fucking spat myself out at the time. And I had to do the rest of the first half anyway with an FFD in my eye.
Good effort.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, the good thing about that, and you know, it was one of those situations where it was a bit of a blessing in disguise because I got through it, past the fan dance, but then from that moment on, I think because I didn't jack and I kept going, and again, this is all mindset stuff, right? And I think at the core of that, for me anyway, was that I just wanted it so badly. You know, there was so much drive for me to get where I wanted to get into the regiment. There was also a big driver, no disrespect to my old unit, but at the time I was kind of fucking sick of the Green Army. And I didn't see a future in that at the time. I didn't really see that being what I thought it was when I first joined. And I had this grandiose idea of joining the regiment, and I thought, I just cannot not do this. And so I had one element I had the towards of, I must get there, but I also had the element of, I can't go fucking back there again. So it was a big driver for me, but it worked. And I think the other thing with that was, I remember the DS at the time, when I was going to checkpoints and stuff, they would be like, oh, how's your eye, mate? You know, they would kind of humanise themselves in a way that I could tell there was an element of respect there, even at that level. I thought, they obviously respect the fact that I kept on going. So I think it did me a bit of a favour, you know. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, like I say, we all know, we've all heard the rumours about the Hills Fees. It's not for the faint-hearted. And again, like you said, quite rightly so there, you kind of touched on. And some of the fittest blokes I've ever encountered have gone on selection. And you know, that injury there, that could have quite easily been, a lot of people could have been an excuse to go.
Yeah.
But in your kind of circumstances, it kind of spurred you on to prove a point. Like you say, you can never, so I've heard, I've never been on it myself, but I liken, I'm not relating power edge training to
still hard.
It's still hard training, but you do, and you look round and you see people and you think, I wonder who's going to be here at the end. And you know what? Sometimes it's people you think, I did not expect him. You know, you kind of say that about the same about selection.
Exactly the same. When you're on day one, week one, you know, you look around and you're guessing who's going to be there. You're thinking who are the kind of super soldiers among them, you know, and it's never who you think it is.
Yeah.
Like the old grey man analogy of the guy who you don't really notice on day one, but then all of a sudden you're like, I keep on seeing this guy. And it's usually the guy who's like, he just doesn't look like your typical SF soldier.
But they don't, do they? They all imagine they're going to be like 10 foot tall. And I'm not saying, I just want to point out that this is
well,
a little like...
I am obviously...
You're not actually kind of...
elevated. You've kind of thrown me under the bus with that one.
But it's not the kind of people that you'd expect. They're not all massive kind of bodybuilder types.
Nah.
Funnily enough, you was into bodybuilding for quite a
long time. It was a long time after that.
Yeah, but like, it's not that it's kind of wiry, it's like the grey man kind of, the people you least expect, you know?
Yeah.
And I think the civilian population a lot of the time expect SAF troopers to be like, you know, kind of these larger than life kind of, and it's just not the case, is it?
You do get the odd guy that's like that.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, there is a really diverse range of characters and shapes and sizes and all the rest of it. But yeah, I would say that you have this idea before you get there, and then that does change, and you get guys like me, you know, a young 22-year-old Lance Corporal from the RHF gets in. You know, that's not your typical sort of pass mark. In fact, I was actually the first guy to do it from the RHF, who was another rank. The only guy before me was in the 70s.
I remember you saying that before.
Yeah, my first commanding officer of the battalion, he was his name was Jonathan Edwards. Really, really nice guy. His dad was. I found this out a few years ago. I went to a reunion, a B Squadron reunion, because he was B Squadron as well, and I spoke to him. And he was actually, it was really weird how things do full circle, right? So when I first joined the battalion, Jonathan Edwards was he was a CO at the time.
Right.
And I knew that he was ex-SAS, but I thought that he was the only one ever to have been in the SAS before me.
From your unit? Yeah.
From my unit, and because I was the next one. So I then joined in, I did the January 2000 course. So I was like, I don't know, almost 30 years later, I joined the regiment, and there hadn't been anyone since that. So I was like the trailblazer for people that were to come after that. But before him, I actually met him at a reunion, and it turned out that he was my dad's platoon commander in Northern Ireland.
Right. Okay.
In South Armagh and Northern Ireland and Belfast as well. So he was a recce platoon commander. My dad was in the recce. He was a sniper in the recce platoon. Yeah. So And he also told me that his dad had been a squadron commander up in Hereford as well. So, yeah, I found that out very late on.
Do you find that spurred you on? Being like we talk about Power Edge, we talk about Marines, you get a lot from them units, don't you?
Yeah.
It's no secret that go on selection and, you know, tend to be reasonably good pass rates and stuff. So do you find that like a driving force, that you're from a unit that's not kind of highly represented in the Special Forces?
The sweeter the prize, right, the more the drive. So at the time, I remember thinking to myself, yeah, there's a high possibility that I won't get in, right? And no one expects me to get in. Like, I was expected to fail, and that's not to put myself down, but no one had passed. And I would say that perceivably higher calibre of soldier than me might have gone in the past. So my older brother, for example, right? My oldest brother, who actually does a bit of work for
veterans, yeah.
Right, so George was my sort of, he was my sort of North Star as far as how you had to be a soldier, because I was very impressionable. I had two older brothers, in fact, who were both doing really well in the battalion. You know, both were good soldiers, and I had a lot to live up to then. My oldest brother, George, he had gone on selection and sadly got injured and came down ill on another occasion. So it was a medical thing, you know, and he decided not to go back because he went the career path after that. And I think what's for you won't go by you and all that, you know. So, but at the time, he was expected to pass. Like, people were like, oh, George Bruce is going to definitely pass. And he got bad luck, which happens, right? I've seen many a really, really good candidate just sadly not pass because of something that's maybe outside the control, right? So when I came along, I didn't class myself as someone who was on the same level. So I guess there were people out there who probably expected me not to pass. Not that I wasn't, you know, I wasn't like I wasn't a good soldier. I was a good soldier, and I had done really well in my time in the infantry. But I guess there was less pressure in me because I wasn't this super soldier-esque type reputation at the time. So when I went on selection, I just thought, you know what, I've got fuck all to lose and everything to gain. And I thought, if I do get in, it's going to be like spectacular. You know, I'll be the first guy to ever do it. I'll probably prove a lot of people wrong. And for that, you know, that was a big motivator for me.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. No,
and on days that were really difficult, like days in the hills where I was really strong, because I found the hills hard. Yeah. You know, a lot of guys will be, oh, you know, the jungle's the hardest part. I love the jungle. I love the jungle. It's one of my favourite places to operate, if not my favourite place to be. And I actually just treated that as a course, and I enjoyed the jungle phase. You know, I really enjoyed it. It was hard, but when looking back in selection retrospectively, I would say the hills was the hardest part, for me anyway. Yeah. But it's an individual thing.
Yeah, no, and I suppose that's why we're back here today having a chat about it. But look, I'm wetter than an otter's pocket. I don't know about you. You fancy going for a beer?
Yeah.
Let's go for a beer and let's talk about what you've got coming up, pal.
Yeah, sounds good.
There you go, buddy. Well, that was
lovely job.
Horrendous, wasn't it?
Thank you, mate.
I am proper wet through. Wowzers.
Yeah, my feet are actually wet from fucking...
I think the boots are filled with water,
yeah.
which is good.
Yeah. I mean, you could have gaiters up to your neck and still get your feet wet. Cheers.
Cheers for that, buddy. Yeah, so where we left off, really, you know, kind of, you know, moving forward, your kind of reasonings for leaving the military, because like, there's no secret, you did sort of 6-7 years, didn't you, in 2-2, and then you made the decision to kind of move away from that. What was the reasoning for that?
It was unexpected in my own mind. I never actually thought I was going to leave early. When I first joined the regiment, in my mind I was in for the full time. I didn't have any plans to leave at all. But things change, you know, and there are reasons for that. And I guess if I was to quantify it into one sort of paragraph, I'd say that I just felt like I wanted to regain control of my own life. Because when you're in the mob, you are owned by the military. You know, they decide where you're going to go, what you're going to do.
That's a fair point.
And that can be a good thing because it gives you structure. It takes that sort of the thought away from your own life as far as what you're going to do next. But for me, I got to that point. I just thought I want to be in the driving seat of this. You know, I want to decide where I'm going to go next. And it wasn't that I didn't want to leave it too long that I ended up either resenting it or getting bitter in any way. I didn't want to leave it on a negative spin, so I thought, whilst I'm still enjoying it, but also while I'm under the knowledge and clarity that I want to do something else. There's something else for me. I don't quite know exactly what it is yet. It's time to leave. So that's when I decided I was going to sign off.
Yeah.
And then when I signed off and I started thinking about what I was going to do, because I was always into my fitness, and I'd been in some gyms around that time where I thought I got this kind of vision in my. I remember I was in a gym in a Canadian base over in Afghan, and I had this idea in my mind that if I had something like that, this would be my when I got out the army, whenever that was going to be, this is what I would do, and that just sort of came further forward. It just sort of came forward in time, and I thought that's what I'm going to do. So my vision when I left was to open a gym. Didn't know how I was going to do it. Didn't have a clue about business, but in my mind when I left, I thought, yeah, this is my path, and that's what I did. You know, after doing a bit of security and stuff like that, obviously. But yeah, the fitness business became my next chapter.
Well, you got quite big into the bodybuilding, didn't you? Did you compete as well at the bodybuilding?
Yeah, I competed about 20 times.
Yeah, enjoyable, tough.
It was a good. I loved it. I mean, I was obsessed. You have to be obsessed with that when you're doing it as well. It's a bit like when you're in the military. If you want to join the regiment, if you want to do selection, you have to become obsessed with it. Because if you're not obsessed with it, the desire to do it is just not going to be big enough. Bodybuilding is very similar. So I guess looking back, bodybuilding was a good segue for me to maintain structure and discipline in my life when I didn't have the military anymore. Because
you have to be regimented, don't you? When you're on them nutrition plans, I've done a couple of stuff, not to that level.
You need to be real. It's full time. You know, it's not like another sport where you go and play it and you pick up a bat or you kick a football and you go home again and you can forget about it for a little while. You carry your sport around with you all day long, which is bodybuilding. It's your body, so it's a full-time gig. Yeah, it really is.
No, I've seen some of the photos of you in incredible shape when you were doing it, and like I can admire the dedication that's required to get in that shape. I suppose that comes down to your kind of discipline and stuff as well, to be able to, you know, that you probably take away from your kind of military sort of life as well, because you're going to transfer that across.
That was a big hole that had to be filled there, because that's all I'd known since I was 17 years old was the military, and it gave me a lot. You know, I've got a lot to thank the military for, because it was like the base plate for everything else to come, because it gives you everything you need as a young lad: the structure, the discipline, the camaraderie, the community that you need, the support network. You know, there's a lot of positives from joining the military, and I had a successful career. I enjoyed it, and I've got only good memories of that, you know. But when I left, retrospectively looking back, I missed that structure. I missed the camaraderie. I missed the lads. You know, so that environment is more important than you think to your life. And when you get out, you realise how much you miss it when you look back. So for me, yeah, bodybuilding, it was another fraternity. So I met a lot of people within that community that I became friends with, and we all had that common ground of an interest of being obsessed about how we looked. Yeah. So that became my new full-time sort of thing. That and the gym, you know, but the gym complemented that and vice versa. And then I got into coaching. That's where my love for coaching started, which was helping people get in shape. So that's where my coaching journey started, which was just fitness coaching. Yeah. Helping all sorts of people, but from, you know, your 45-year-old housewives trying to lose a bit of weight, all the way up to professional athletes. And I did that for quite a long time. But with that journey in itself, the coaching journey, I remember getting to a point where I had this feeling that there was something I had to upgrade within my skill set to take people to the next level. Because the common denominator with people was you could physically get people in shape as long as they were turning up, as long as they were paying you for your time, and you were taking them through all the steps in a very controlled fashion. But if you're just, you know, it's what they do when they're out of the gym. It's when they go home. You can't, and that's what I think was missing. So that all comes, like what we were saying earlier on, it all starts in the mind. Yeah. It's the same with everything. And so for me, the part that I thought was missing was like trying to convey that mindset to other people. Because at the time, I had the mindset to be disciplined and do whatever I set myself out to do. I had that discipline to just get on with it, and I couldn't understand why other people couldn't think the same way as me. So I was in this place of confusion where, why can't people just get on with it? I'm telling them exactly what they need to do. Why can't they just get on and do it? But there are reasons for that. So it's tapping into the underlying reasons with someone else's conditioning. What makes them do the things they do? What drives them? What stops them doing the things they should be doing? And that's a whole...
It's like a
it's a huge rabbit hole. And that's what I've been doing since. And I'm still on that path. You know, I'm still on that path where I'm trying to improve my skill set in that way so I can continue to help others in a more rapid fashion. So that's why now what I tend to focus on is more rapid but lasting transformation.
Yeah.
But it all starts in the mind.
No, happy days. It's, like I say, it's always nice you can put something back that you find fulfilling as well and helps other people. Yeah. I like that kind of attitude around it. It's brilliant. Fast forwarding, like to kind of recently, you just got back from Indonesia, is that correct?
Yeah.
And what was that about? Is that things that are coming up to do with that? So
we went and did. I mean, this was in the planning stages for a long time.
Yeah.
And finally, it came to fruition. Myself and my friend Ryan over there, Ryan Mack, we decided to collaborate. Finally, we've been friends virtually for years on social media, and I only just finally met him in person last month. So. He's been doing this for years. He's been over there for 10 years doing this type of stuff, you know. He's got a YouTube channel and he's been doing all this adventure stuff for a long time. So now we've collaborated and we're going to do future trips. We did the first one just gone. We did Mount Rinjani with several people, took them up the mountain. It was my first time over there as well. It was a raving success. So we said at the time, look, we've got to just start this as a new part of the business, really. So that's the new element to my business, which is creating experiences where people can physically and mentally challenge themselves. If it's my clients, it's putting what I've taught them into practice and really testing themselves in environments that's going to challenge them. So next year we've got about 3 or 4 trips booked, probably 4 actually. One of them we've discussed earlier, which is the jungle phase.
Yeah.
And that's a good talking point because that's kind of stemming from the selection. Jungle phase is we're kind of coining that phrase, if you like. And myself, Ryan Mack, and Ollie Ollerton are going to collaborate on that and run an experience over there for people who want to join us. And it's going to be a 2-week experience, 5 days in the jungle as part of that. As well as some live fire and stuff with some of the guys over there. So it's going to be not like selection, but it's going to be a taste of what selection in the jungle can be like. So, trekking through the jungle, putting up your basher, learning things like survival skills and lighting fires, making shelter, that type of thing. Live firing, basic jungle skills, not tactics obviously, because there's nothing military about it, but it'll be an amazing experience for guys to just get to the jungle, experience what it feels like to live and operate in that environment, So it's going to be good.
It will be, because like you say, the whole joke within the military was always, civvies will pay for this stuff that you did on a day-to-day basis. So I suppose you're kind of in a roundabout way, you're putting 3 people through it. Is it going to be like filmed as well, or is it?
Yeah,
it's going to be filmed.
Yeah, we'll bring a video team as well. Yeah, so. Yeah, it'll all be professionally filmed. Like the last one was, like we did the Rinjani one.
Yeah.
We did some really good videos, some good footage of that. So, I'm really looking forward to that because that's going to be the start of hopefully many experiences like that. But there's going to be an element of, it's the 2 parts of it really are and what we do with all the challenges we run over there is there's going to be the physically and mentally challenging part, followed by the R&R part, which is going to be luxurious, yachts and island hopping and canoes and that type of stuff. So it's a contrast of challenge yourself, but then you get rewarded at the end of that.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
Yeah, it
sounds
absolutely awesome. Honestly, it's given me a new sort of, not a new lease of life, but it's taken me to that point where I thought I probably wouldn't go back to doing a lot of outdoor stuff, but then after doing one trip, I'm addicted. I need to get back over here and do more. So, we're going to be running 3 or 4 trips a year, all in the dry season.
Well, we said, didn't we? We talked about on the way round the route there. We said about it's good. You've got to have a focus.
Yeah.
You've got to have something. You've got to constantly be pushing yourself, focusing on something. And I don't mean pushing yourself in a physical sense, but challenging yourself.
Yeah.
It's great for your mental health, isn't it? And great to have a focus.
Mate of mine, he was 48, in fact, my age, firefighter, fit as fuck. Drank probably like ideally, drank very, very seldom. Never smoked, never took drugs, didn't take any gear. He was fit, you know, he was a really fit 48. Anyway, he worked across the road from me. He had a printing company as well, so he was a fire officer at the local station. But he also owned a successful printing company across from my old gym. And he'd be in there every day, and he was like fucking one of those, like, you know, one of those people that's like, he's got a small guy, and he's just like, fucking like ADHD fucking central, you know, just like never can't sit still.
It's my brain.
Right? So then he had this black Ferrari, and I always said to him, "Give us a fucking shot at your Ferrari. Let me drive your Ferrari." He's like, nah, the weather's a bit bad. It was always some excuse.
Yeah.
Anyway, random. This is really, really weird. This chain of events, right? Comes into the gym randomly, and he parks his car right outside the door, and he never ever did that. Knows he parked his car at the door, the black Ferrari. Comes in and goes, "There you go. Do you want to go for a drive?" I was like, "Yeah, fucking right." So he says, "Right, this is how you start it," and blah blah blah. Got in the car, fucking tore up the road, had a good little fucking spin around in his Ferrari. Came back to the gym. Thanks for that, mate. And I had this moment where I looked at him and I was like, you know when you look at someone, you go, "Fuck me, he looks fucking well." You know, he'd just come back from holiday. He was tanned. He was dressed well. I thought he just looked like he got his shit together. His health was in good order. And I had a real moment of just appreciating, like, yeah, fair play, mate. You're 48 years old. I thought, you're doing well, you know, and you look really good. Next day comes, I was in town and I ran this promotion stand for my gym. So, you know, you could pop a fucking gazebo up and all that in the centre of town. So we were handing out flyers and shit like that. My mate that I had helping me on the stand, he was fucking running up to me. Now, Chris, my other mate, the guy I was just talking about,
yeah.
he had a little shop in town as well. So my mate Ben runs up and he's like, "Fuck," he goes, "Chris is fucking, I think there's something wrong with Chris." So he's fucking, there's an ambulance outside his shop. So I fucking dropped what I was doing, ran towards the shop, and as I got to the shop, there was a stretcher coming out, and he had a very distinctive Breitling watch, must be a firefighter thing, and a pager in his belt. And he was being taken on the stretcher, and then he get taken into the ambulance, and they were doing CPR on him.
Oh, fuck.
And his watch, his wrist, his arm was hanging down. As I saw his watch and I saw his pager, I was like, "Fuck it!" And straight away, I knew it was him. And then in my mind, I'm going, "He's fucked," because I'd seen it many times in hospitals and other places where someone's getting CPR and they never make it. Right, no. Very, very, very rarely. And went to hospital. He dropped dead. He just fucking dropped dead. Yeah.
Like an aneurysm of some description. Or...
Massive fucking heart attack, yeah. Anyway, we sat in the hospital, we get told that he's fucking passed and all the rest of it, and then this issue came up that his car was outside his shop and nobody knew how to drive it. And I was like, well, you fucking showed me last night. But I thought it was really, really weird how...
He'd never let you drive it?
Never let me drive that car.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, he just went, "There's my keys." Fucking weird. Really,
yeah,
really
it is weird, isn't it? A lot of that is weird, and if you believe in fate
like,
and
did
all
he
that.
know?
They say that though, don't they? Say that sometimes they do. People know. Like...
I'll never forget. It was a really. But then after that, I was also. It's one of those moments where you just sometimes think to yourself, like, you can overthink things really easily. And at the time, I remember because I was going to take my daughter on holiday, right? And I was looking. Being a cheap cunt that I am, because I'm Scottish, right? Just to continue.
Didn't want to say out, mate.
Just continue the charade. I was looking at like fucking all these. What's the cheapest holiday I can buy? So I was looking at all these cheap shit holidays and just thinking, I'll take it away for a few days and fucking, take it to Spain or something, get a budget holiday. And now looking back, that's not me now. I like to go plush, right?
Yeah.
But I think this was a turning point. Because at the time, I was looking for this fucking, cost-effective holiday because I was watching my money and all this. And after that happened, I was like, fuck this. And I booked a 2-week holiday to Vegas for us both.
Yeah.
I just thought, fuck it.
That's what I do. Those things have this effect on you. But you soon then, once time passes, you fall back into that sort of.
You can.
Do you know what I mean? You fall back into that.
But this is why. So part of what I coach is all about states of consciousness.
Yeah.
And one of the things about states of consciousness is that being in that, and it's all about routine. It's about checking in with yourself daily, checking in with others, but checking in with yourself. And this is why accountability is so good, because if you've got accountability and you've got a structure and a system, you've got that constant reminder of this is what you need to be doing. This is what you need to be thinking about. And if you're doing that enough, it's the repetition of that that trains the conscious mind to then train the unconscious mind. So the unconsciously, subconsciously, you end up doing things that you otherwise would probably just overlook. So just being conscious enough to go, this is the way I should be thinking about this, rather than just fucking letting yourself go on autopilot and getting into bad habits again.
Yeah.
And like you said, before you know it, you're back in that habit of just doing the old thing again before something fucking happens. And typically with humans, it's like a death will occur, and you go, we should really keep in touch more.
Yeah.
You see someone at a funeral, you never.
I know.
We're going to let's keep in touch, and we'll check in at least once a month, and then before you know it, you've never fucking seen them for 3 years. It happens.
I fall into that fucking cycle as well. I'm terrible. Because I'm fucking riddled with ADHD, I don't know if you realise. But before it was cool, by the way. I had it way before it was cool to have it, like 6-7 years ago. It's answered a lot of questions in my brain why I do what I do. But I'm very much like, with the cigarettes, I've quit for years. And then within the last 3 I'm smoking again. I'm like, why the fuck am I smoking?
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know. No idea. It's come to me, and now I'm struggling to fucking quit with them. But I don't know, it's weird. But yeah, it's like fucking your brain, and it's like just having a word with yourself sometimes.
I saw a thing the other day, that was because my daughter vapes,
Right.
and I fucking hate it.
Yeah, it's horrible. Well, smoking, I hate the smell of it. It's horrible.
So, and she's never smoked. She didn't smoke. So, but I saw this thing the other day, and I forwarded it to her because it's this new thing that I saw, and it was like, it's literally air. You vape
It's
air.
like a thing, isn't it? It's like a
There's
whistle.
there's no nicotine. There's nothing in it.
Yeah.
It's harmful. It's just air. So I forwarded it to her, like, fucking start taking this instead, because, who knows the damage it can be doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Later life, We've all got our vices, though.
That's the only thing. I give up alcohol for
I don't really
once
drink,
once
but I like the odd beer. Like today,
same.
I was quite looking forward to that because I never really do it.
Yeah, I did never really anything. I've done them plans for a mate who puts bodybuilders on stage and got in since the last 5 years, like 2 or 3 times. I've got in really good shape and enjoyed doing it and everything else. So I can stick to it. It's just the cigarettes is the only thing. Never really bothered with drugs, right? Just cigarettes.
See, I never ever did drugs, ever. Right. So I was that kid. I grew up in the fucking 90s, the rave scene, where like pills were the thing, right?
Ecstasy
and I never did it. I was a right square fucker, right? So I drank, but I was on the piss, but I never ever took pills. Yeah. But this is because I'd been led to believe, that drugs are bad, and my dad would say that, my brothers would say it. They were in the army. It was all about drugs are bad. So I never ever did anything. And then 3 years ago, I started taking psychedelics. Started fucking around with psychedelics.
That's supposed to be good, though, isn't it? Mike Tyson's a big
Amazing,
habit.
yeah.
Mushrooms.
It is game changing. Game changing.
It's microdosing like magic mushrooms.
No.
Isn't it?
No.
It's not even microdosing.
That's pussies, mate. No. Microdosing.
Fair one, mate. We're still rolling, This is ruined,
I really don't care.
No, I don't.
It's open source. Everyone knows I take psychedelics, but and it's not to glorify that, and not in a way that it's recreational at all, right?
Do you think it's good for mental health?
There are charities now running programs, specifically with treatments like psilocybin, LSD, MDMA. It's a well-known thing. There are successful charities. It's for mental health problems like PTSD, depression. I mean, this goes way back to the 60s where Nixon banned, they waged war on psychedelics globally because of the effect it was having in humans. But there's two sides to it. There's a side to that which is bad, i.e. people who are using it for escapism, without proper direction, in a way that they are, I would say, probably got addictive personalities.
Yeah.
And they use things like DMT to then escape their reality. That's not how it's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be mental.
From a recreational perspective, that's not what it's about. So it should be controlled. It should be under the right sort of ritualistic setup as well. So when I did ayahuasca, I went to do ayahuasca out in Ecuador I did like a 17-day retreat over there, which was pretty fucking intense. And I did about 8 ceremonies over there, ayahuasca, San Pedro, and it was life-changing. After that, I felt, like I'd really broke through a barrier. I'd unloaded a lot of shit that I was carrying around. It was basically, I would say for a long time, I was living life through the lens of my ego.
Right, okay.
And I had kind of lost my way with that, because the ego's needed, but it can own you if you're not careful.
Yeah.
So for me, there was a lot of ego in there. There was a lot of hidden anger. There was a lot of shit that I had to unload. And when I went over there, that helped me really unload a lot of stagnant shit that I had to jetson.
Oh, fair one.
So yeah, so my experience with that has been really profound when it comes to
So asking for a friend, where do you get these psychedelics from?
Well, again, it's not something I would say that I would never recommend.
So what's the kind of benefits and stuff that?
Well, what you've got, right? So you've got I would say without getting too deep, but you can't really explain it without getting a bit deep. So you're born, you're conditioned, you live in a 3-dimensional fucking reality. That's not a blurb, that's just a fact, right?
Yeah.
So we get conditioned by our surroundings, our environment. And what happens then, we develop this ego that has to get us through life. The egoic state is to help us navigate the 3-dimensional world we live in, right? It's just the way we operate. So as time goes on through your life, you become conditioned by everything around you. All the information that's around you it has a conditioning. It makes you the way you are. So you end up being the way you are. The reason you've got a Paris tattoo is part of that conditioning.
Yeah.
There's a reason why you got that tattoo, because everyone else had it.
Yeah.
It was part of your culture.
Yeah.
It was a tribalism thing. It was notoriety. It was significance. It was all the things that you need as a human being. That tribalism is about being accepted. It's about feeling part of something. It's why you joined the army, right? So there are many reasons why we do what we do, but that is your egoic state running the show. Right? Your ego runs all that. So what happens when you open the door of... That looks good.
Does look good, doesn't it? Good effort.
So when you open, it's a little bit like taking the fucking red pill and going, do you want to see what's underneath the fucking surface? Because you don't know. So from a scientific perspective, what's happening is, when you're born, you're as blank a canvas as you're going to be. So your pineal gland under your brain, right, is a little gland that sits at the base of your brain near the back. There are minute little crystals within that gland, right, that over time they calcify. So when you're in this, when you go through your life, all you know is your life. You know that you've got to pay your fucking bills, you've got to be at work, you've got to do these things, and it is your life, right? It is the experience you have in your life. So access to anything else is completely fucking shut off. So when you go through your life and your pineal gland becomes crystallized, it becomes calcified, the crystals in your pineal gland become inactive. So what you're essentially doing when you take something like psychedelics, it all relates back to DMT, which is dimethyltryptamine, which is a molecule that the body produces. So you've got DMT in your system, right? Dimethyltryptamine. But it's a very sneaky little fucker. You can't measure it. It's very. They're doing a lot of studies at the moment in Oxford University with things like intravenous DMT. And it's because they are experimenting with what's possible with human consciousness. So what happens when you then crack that open, you're essentially opening a gateway, a portal, to access information you wouldn't normally have.
Other parts of your brain?
Other parts of everything.
Fucking hell.
Your brain's just the tool that makes that happen.
This is not the first I've heard about DMT. I have heard people talk about it.
Yeah, so what it's doing is it's opening up a gateway. It's like an information highway to other levels of consciousness. So the levels of consciousness are essentially dimensional levels. And this is science. So it's when science meets spirituality, it's like there's a bit in the middle where you go, you've got to make sense of this shit, right? You can't just go woo-woo and go, oh, I believe this. Well, you can do a bit of that, but it's what you believe. But when you put science into the mix and you get a middle ground, that's where you can make it tangible. So with that in mind, what's happening is, so go back to the whole egoic thing. We are the way we are, and we do the things we do because that's where that we've been conditioned to do them. So we think and we fucking speak and we behave in a certain way, and it gets us a result. And the result then makes us feel what we feel. So our experience of life and the picture that we give it right now is about, right, how do I feel in my life? How's my fucking finances? How's my relationships? How happy do I feel? So there are people that can't ever feel happy, because they base their whole fucking happiness and reality on things in the realm of three-dimensional reality. So
that makes sense.
how nice a car have I got? Oh, my fucking car's just run out of its MOT. I can overthink that and let it get to me, or I can just go, is it even real? You know, is it really that important? Is it really that? Do I need to let that bother me that much? What does it even mean? Right. So when you look at going down the path of upgrading your consciousness, what you're essentially doing is you're allowing yourself to think and operate on a different level completely, right?
Sure.
So
this is frying my noodle, you know that, don't you?
yeah, well it will, but it's
I've got an headache now.
But so when you do things like you go down the realms of things like plant medicine, psychedelics, the job of that is to try and dissolve the part of the ego that isn't really serving you anymore. Because there's certain parts of your ego that will make you do certain things, think certain things, and it's just all your own conditioning. It's just all your own words and thoughts and feelings that have manifested into the way you are. But that can sometimes metastasize into this fucking monster that controls you and doesn't actually help you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do.
So what you got to do, so to summarise that, I would say that when I went down that path of looking inwards, it was a fucking scary prospect, because there was a lot of shit I had to clear out. But it gives you a fucking look through the peek through the looking glass of what's really happening. And what you have to do is try to dissolve that ego to then become more fucking conscious.
Wow.
And when you do that, it's quite a frightening sort of path to go down, but at the same time it's probably the most rewarding you can ever do. But it has caveats within that. So it's a bit like a pendulum, right? So for me, in simple terms, I was of a certain mindset. So whether it be, why can't people just fucking get on with it, that type of mindset, you know, very straightforward, get the fuck on with it type thing.
Yeah.
Which is really the soldier's way of doing things.
Yeah.
But then what happens with that is it reaches a point where that doesn't work anymore. Hence why they have these programs where they're putting people through these processes where it's helping that, because there's only so far the ego will fucking take you. There's only so much you can go, just get the fuck on with it. And back in the Second World War, you didn't hear about it back then, because that's all people did was just get on with it.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean to say they were fucking happy, or...
You were just less aware of it, wouldn't you?
People were less aware of it because no one fucking spoke about it.
Yeah.
That's why we talk these days about, oh, you need to talk about your mental health. Because there's part of that ego that's still going, no, I can't talk about that. Stiffen up the upper lip and just get on with it. That's the ego. So you need to dissolve that part to become free of that shit. And part of that is learning to be present in the moment, you know? That's a big part of it.
But look, Lindsay, it's been an absolute pleasure, as it was last time.
Likewise.
We've covered the hill phase. cover the jungle fees.
Yeah.
All we've got to do now is run away from here and not pay for our food. So then we've done the E&E as well. But no, look, an absolute pleasure, buddy.
Likewise, mate.
You take care and
Thanks
stay in
for having me
touch.
again. Cheers, bud.